All right. Well, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Christine Hall, and I'm a founder of the MOB, the Mississauga Area Women in Business. And today we're going to spend the next 30 minutes together, or 27 minutes together, chatting about the 100 Women Who Care Mississauga chapter. It's a brand new chapter that I'm starting. I was looking at joining a 100 Women Who Care group in Mississauga, and I couldn't find one. So I thought, what the heck, let's go ahead and get one started here, and submitted a request form, an application, and I came back that I was approved. So this is how, literally last week when I said, hey, does anyone want to do this, this is pretty much what has transpired so far. So I'm going to just go ahead right into the slide presentation, go through the slides, answer your questions. Okay, everyone? So let me just shrink that up. Mirella, is this a yes that you can see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, because I can't see you guys anymore. I don't know what happened to you, and I like to have at least one person in my view. Okay, so as you're joining in this call, can you please go into the chat box and let me know if you've been a member of a 100 Women Who Care, 100 Women Who Care chapter previously. If you haven't, just leave it blank. If you have been a member, please put down the chapter that you were a member of, or if you participated in a giving at one of the chapter meetings, if you could also let me know that in the chat, that would be great. Okay, so as I said, the 100 Women Who Care Mississauga chapter is just getting launched. So this is an information session to answer some questions and to give you a little bit of information. I'll talk about a little bit of the history. Oh, I see I didn't update that. I'll talk a little bit about the history of how it got started. We'll talk about how it works, and then the information about the steering team with regard to commitment and time and things like that. Okay, and then Q&A. So for those of you who are not familiar with the 100 Women Who Care, there was a woman by the name of Karen Dunnigan. She is the founder. She started this charity when she heard of a desperate need for baby cribs. That's how it all got started. So it was during a lunch one day back in 2006 in the town that she lives in Jackson, Michigan. She's the executive leader she's a leader in the community that serves the Center for Family Health. And during a luncheon, she learned that mothers were taking their babies home, and because they didn't have proper beds or cribs, they were placing them in boxes, in drawers, and sleeping with them. And unfortunately, some of these babies didn't even survive the first night they were sent home. So Karen was thinking, okay, what can we do? The women came to her and said, well, we need cribs, we need mattresses, we need blankets. And she said, well, how much is that? How many is that? And they came back to her with a total list of all the things they needed, which amounted to $10,000. So she started thinking, she said, well, you know what? I have 10 great friends I know could donate $1,000, and we could, help these women out immediately. But then she thought, wait a second, I have more than 10 friends, and $1,000 might be too steep. So let me see if I can gather 100 of my friends and have them each donate $100. So she began making phone calls, and she scheduled a meeting. And at that first meeting, 1 hour meeting, they were able to collect $12,800 in donations for the Center for Family Health. Everything that the foundation was looking for, they were able to supply. So that's how it got started, from this need of cribs. She knew she was on to something. So what she did was she started doing not just that one time, but she started hosting every quarter meetings with her friends who wanted to give and give to charities who they knew had an immediate need, and it was going to make an immediate impact. So that's how 100 Women got started. They meet quarterly, and the rules are very simple. I'll explain those in a second. And today, within the first year or so, I think there was 100 chapters all around, started out around the world. And then today there are over 900 chapters worldwide. And the chapters now are not just women, but it's 100 men who care, or 100 people who care, combination, 100 kids, 100 teens. So there's various chapters all around the world that have started from that need from the cribs. So how does it work? It's a 1-hour meeting where 100 women come with a check. Now, I don't know how many of us have checks anymore, but the premise is, or was, that each person came with a $100 check. And at the end of the 1-hour meeting, they signed these checks to the charity that was voted upon that night by the members who were in the room or had good standing. And this is done 4 times a year. Okay. And for us, it will be a charity in Mississauga. It will be a charity that we as a group find. And then we would shortlist the various charities down to 3. And the night of the giving circle, it usually is held in person, but obviously well, maybe we can do this. I don't know. It's going to be, we're launching in April, so maybe we can. But the idea is that the 3 shortlisted charities would either, someone from that organization would come and present to the group that evening. Once the 3 charities are presented, then we would vote, and whoever gets the highest number of votes we would all write the check to that charity. Okay. So things will have to be done a little bit differently if we're still in lockdown or reduced numbers, but we can definitely figure that out. That's just a logistical thing. What else? So how can you help? So I'd like to actually launch our chapter, officially launch our chapter April the 1st. So if you're interested, how you can help is by joining our chapter as one of our 100. And of course, we can have more than 100, but joining as one of our 100, which would be a group effort to get us there. You can help by sharing with others and inviting them to join the chapter, or you can help by joining the steering committee. And so what is the purpose of the steering committee or the steering team? The purpose is to make sure that our chapter stays aligned with the objectives of the cause, to help monitor progress, to help recruit women to join the chapter, basically become an ambassador of the Mississauga chapter, whatever we need to help us fulfill the commitment we've set forth. So the way I kind of look at it is, if we had a committee of perhaps 10, including myself, so 8 or 9 people, and how I envision the breakdown of, let's say, if we wanted to call it roles, people that were in charge of recruitment, although each person who is on the committee would be responsible for inviting others to join, but there would be someone specific who would kind of oversee. Let's say we had 10 people, then they would go, okay, did you invite your 10 people? Do you have and then, oh, okay, right now we're at 80 people in our chapter, we're still missing 20. So they'd kind of be in charge of those numbers. Then we need someone who has some event planning and logistics experience. Eventually we will get back to in-person events, and we will be meeting in person. So we will need to find venues that will be able to support 100 women. We need individuals who are versed in communication, media, and PR. We do definitely want to make sure that the word gets out. And so we'd be looking for individuals who maybe have some experience writing or connections with reporters or with media, television, and then of course be that conduit for when we have our in-person events, making sure there is a reporter there the evening of our 1-hour meeting, where we have that presentations by the 3 charities, and then the vote, and then the donation. So the next one I've outlined here is a finance or budget person. And I wanted to share with you, you probably already got it. It is 100% not for profit. So when you give your $100 check, the whole entire $100 goes to the charity we choose. Now, having said that, there are still going to be things that may require a budget, renting of the room, name tags, whatever we might need logistically to run a meeting. And so the individual would just keep a tally of that. And because it's a not-for-profit, we would be looking for donations from companies to support or provide the room, to provide the paper, the name tags, that kind of thing. So we definitely also need someone who would be great at sponsorship, looking for organizations who would like to sponsor us in this cause, okay? And provide the things we need so it's not coming directly out of our pocket. And then donations. So sponsorship and donations, a little bit different in my mind. Sponsorship is I'm looking for someone to donate the room. Donations would be someone, here's $250 from, I don't know, Bell. And then we could use that towards our operating budget, which the finance budget person would then keep track of. And sponsorship, there's other things as well that some chapters do where they, in order to raise funds for their budgetary expenses or their operating expenses, they had companies donate t-shirts with their logo on it. And then they sell the t-shirts, and the money that comes from that then pays for their budgetary needs. So there's some kind of fun, cool things that we can do. And although we're only meeting maximum 4 times a year for our giving circles for the donation night, we can meet other times to do fun social things where we might tack on a little bit of extra money, and then that amount would go towards our charity budgetary expense. Okay. So what kind of commitment is this? At first, like anything, there is going to be a larger upfront commitment because we're just setting things up. We're getting Stormin and Norman, right, as a group, setting up some of our own internal, I don't want to say rules, but guidelines. So I kind of said, the first month would probably be 5 hours. And it may be more and it might be less. And then after that, I would imagine it's just 1 hour or so, depending on what your role is. You might have your role on the steering committee might be a little bit more labor intensive right around, like right before or right after events. So this is just a quick guideline. And the way it's laid out, there's four meetings per year, and I just put 4 to 8 just as a cushion to give you all an idea of commitment. And then, of course, one of the things, if you're on the committee, that regardless of the role, you'd be responsible to invite other caring and compassionate women to join us, because we need to get to our 100. And then the last point I have is the commitment to your $100 donation 4 times a year. That's basically 1 meeting per quarter. And because we're not launching until April 1st, we're only going to have 3 meetings this year. And so that would look less this year. Okay, so that's kind of all the information I have for you right now in a nutshell. Let me just stop the share so I can see your beautiful faces. And I'm just going to open it up to Q&A. We're at 1:17. So what questions do you have?
Hi, Christine. I'm not on video. I'm breastfeeding my 1-year-old son, so I'm going to stay off for a moment.
No problem. Who's speaking?
But it's Amy Eppel.
Oh, hi, Amy.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Thanks for running this meeting today, and thanks for bringing this initiative. I hadn't heard of 100 Women Who Cared until last week, and I looked it up. It sounds like an amazing initiative. I'd love to be involved. I have a couple of questions. Sure. And I wrote them down here. Okay. So I was just wondering, as far as, I'll throw them out first, and then maybe you can address all of them. Okay. Rather than going back and forth, just to be respectful of everyone's time. So if a charity doesn't get chosen 1 quarter, can they be invited back the next time around?
Correct.
That's one of my questions.
Sorry.
Would we be getting
the answer?
Oh, sorry. Do you want to answer?
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
My other question is, would the charities be organizing tax receipts for people who donate $100?
Yes.
And, because we don't live in the time of checks anymore, are there alternative payment structures that are set up to support these charities as opposed to checks?
Yes.
And then I also just wanted to say, I don't know if my skill set falls in any of those positions, but I'd be happy to help from a technical point of view if you want to build a subpage on your website.
Yes.
Or it's its own thing. I have a web development company, so if you needed help in that area, feel free. Let me know.
To answer all of your questions, yes, and yes. So your first question was about the charities. If a charity was not selected in the first, let's say the second quarter, could they be nominated again in the third or fourth? Yes, they can be. There's also some rules around if a charity is nominated and they do win, can they be nominated again? And yes, there is. And I can't remember if there's a time period that you have to wait. But if there is an imminent need and we 100 women decide that they do deserve this next $10,000, then that's the charity that will get it. So that was one question. Then your question about the checks. Yeah, I get that no one has checks anymore. I only ever had them because of school, and then school went online. So yes, you can bring a check, and or you can bring cash in a sealed envelope. There's also a lot of organizations now that will accept or even create for us a link to make our donation. And if all of that fails, then we will set something up on the MOB website where the donation can be made through there, then forwarded to the charity, and yes, you will get tax receipts. That would be when we're looking for charities, that would be what we would want. We'd want to select a charity that would give us that tax receipt.
Great, thank you.
And Amy, absolutely, we need a web page or landing page or website. We need a logo, and there's other marketing material. We'll need a Facebook page, maybe a LinkedIn, and maybe an Instagram. So there's needs for all of those things. Yes.
Terrific. I'm happy to help, and thanks again.
That's awesome. I just want to also answer, in case you might be feeling this way. You might be thinking, oh, $100 once a year, I can do that. $400 with my other givings, that might be steep. Well, what you can do is you can go out to friends and family who maybe aren't a part of the 100 women, and you can ask them to donate. So let's say, for example, my mom, who wouldn't necessarily become a part of the 100 for Women chapter and come to the meetings, she would certainly want to be able to give me $25 or $50 towards my 100. So you can certainly do that yourself. However, there would be one tax donation that would go to the member. Does that make sense? Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, Marella?
Christine, in terms of the donations, because that's something that definitely piques my interest just because of hockey and, is there some sort of letter, like a template that we have that we can send the companies?
Okay, so there is something called the 100 Women Alliance, and it is also a not-for-profit organization where a group of 100 women chapter leaders have gotten together to kind of create a best practices. So when you become a chapter leader, you get access to a leader Facebook group, and you get access to resources and templates that they have used. So we definitely can start off with the templates they have designed and create our own standard letter on our letterhead and everything, for sure. That's definitely one of the tasks we need to do, along with all of the social media communication stuff before April 1st. So that's why we've got a whole month of time and 8 or 9 or 10 people working together.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, great.
Yes, please say your name first, because I'm not all on my screen.
Elizabeth.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
I forgot my question.
Oh,
dear. I remembered my name, but I forgot my question. Yeah, continue on.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Okay.
Hi, Christine. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Judy.
Go ahead. Oh, me?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I have heard of this group, and it is a really amazing group. So I was just wondering if the steering committee decides on the charity.
No, they do not.
Oh, okay. So they don't.
No, they do not. It
Okay.
is 100 women who will vote the night of the meeting of the 3 shortlisted charities. The steering committee does not make the decisions. The 100 women who are in good standing, meaning you came to your last meeting and you paid your $100. You signed your commitment form. Yeah. Sorry if I did not make that clear.
Oh, no, it's probably just me. Okay, so does that mean then the steering committee chooses the 3 that no, it's not. No. Okay, maybe I'm not listening. It's too, I gotta drink my coffee.
Sorry if I misled. No, the steering committee is basically the people behind the scenes that are making the things happen. You know, too many cooks in the kitchen. We can't have 100 people making decisions, and we can't have one person, me, making decisions, because I certainly don't have the breadth and the knowledge and the experience that this room brings to the table. Do you understand? So what will happen is in our first quarter, like our first quarter is really the second quarter of the year, we'll do the first month, which will be recruitment, and we'll have you know, you'll have one-on-one discussions with people, you'll share, maybe we'll have a recording that we'll send out, our website will be up, our social media channels will be in place so people can check things out, our letter will be done. So when we're communicating with people to recruit them, that'll be the first month. And then the next phase would be, okay, now let's go out and find out what charities in Mississauga desperately need help. And we'll all go out, or maybe we won't. Maybe you're not, maybe you have no interest in going to find out who needs help. You know, you just want to give. Like maybe you don't have the time, you just want to give. So the group collectively, whoever's interested, will bring forward charities to kind of nominate them, right? So there could be 10 or 12 that get nominated, that get brought forward by the group. And then we shortlist that to, okay, these are the top 3. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So the steering committee isn't like, they're just guiding. They're just making sure we stay on track and we're doing the things we need to do to get to meet our, whenever we decide to have our, in that second quarter, whenever we decide to have our meeting, which I'm assuming is going to be closer towards, what is the second quarter? When does it end? June? April? May? Yeah. So it ends June 30th, right? Something like that. So I would imagine we would be ready to have our commitment circle meeting where we hear the 3 listed charities, maybe around the second week. And then that gives us still 3 weeks of, you know, promotion time so everyone can share and get pictures out. And hopefully we have someone who's got great connections with PR and media and papers and things like that. Does that help, Judy? Does that answer your question?
So
yes, sorry, I put myself on mute there.
It's Elizabeth again. Maybe I need to clarify for me. So any one of the 100 can suggest a charity.
Yeah, and they keep using the term in good standing. So you've come to the meetings, you've signed your commitment form, and the last meeting we had, you wrote your check. Okay, so play the game and you get to to
have a say, right?
Yes, exactly.
Now,
yes.
A comment that I'd like to make. I've been involved with Special Olympics forever because my son is a participant. And one of the things that I've learned is to pick charities at the community level, not at the higher level, because the higher you go into a charity, the more money doesn't come to the individuals that really need it most. So like Special Olympics Mississauga, we've always tried to fundraise and stuff for the individual sports, because 100% of that money goes to the individual sport. Where you donate to Ontario Special Olympics, none of it comes down to floor hockey in Mississauga.
Oh, well, that's excellent information, Elizabeth. So when we are, at the stage where we're looking for the charity, I think what would be great is if we could put together some kind of like best practices document for people who, so that we can make the biggest impact possible. So that's excellent feedback.
It's Anthony. Yeah, that was kind of my question too. Will there be, will we have a standard where at least X% of the donation goes directly to the charity that needs it, as opposed to organizations that are very, top heavy with administration fees?
That's totally in our control too, right? Because
Right.
we're sourcing them out. And so what I just mentioned about kind of having a best practices guideline, we'll definitely need to put that together. And, I am sure this 100 Women Who Care has been running since 2006 now. So I'm sure I haven't had a chance to go through all the resources, honestly. I found out, and as soon as I found out, I immediately told you guys. In fact, I told Elizabeth the second I got the email at like midnight. And then I mentioned,
because I was up at that time.
Yes, because she PM'd me. So my husband wasn't awake, so I had to tell someone. So, but we will scour through the resources and make sure that we're not reinventing the wheel, and that we're capitalizing on the material and the do's and the don'ts and the best practices that others have forged and paved the path for us. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry, it's
Hi,
Vin.
Christine.
Yes.
Sorry,
That's okay.
I'll go ahead. It's Sarah Storino. How
Hi.
are you? I love this initiative. I think it's awesome. I just have two questions.
Okay.
One, to be part of, if you are part of the steering committee, you can still make suggestions as to the charity. It doesn't
Of course.
prevent you from. Okay.
But it doesn't
And then-
need extra voting power.
Okay. And oh my gosh. Oh, here's my other question. How will you select who will be on the steering committee after this? Are you going to ask us to send you something, or do you just want us to throw out what we're interested in doing? Or
I think that's going to be probably my hardest decision, because I don't want to not include every single person who wants to be involved. But yes, I think maybe what I'll do is create a simple form and ask you to put down what area of experience that you have or area of interest, and just a little bit maybe about what you've done in the past. And then we'll go from there. Honestly, I haven't thought that through. As soon as I got 3 or 4 people, and I'm like, yes, that's awesome. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now we have 24. So we will figure it out. But we need all of you. We need all 100. So we haven't hit that number. There was 38 interested, and I think maybe another 5 or 6. So we had about 40 women. And I didn't even go outside of the mob. I just did one little post to see what the interest was like. But yeah, we do need everyone. Did I answer both your questions?
yes, thank you.
Christine, it's Vinny.
Hi,
So,
Vinny.
this is fantastic. As I always like to help out with charities as well. I think it's a fantastic idea. So my question is, I don't live in Mississauga. I'm in Etobicoke.
Mhm.
So do you have to be a resident of Mississauga?
No,
No.
you don't
Okay.
have to be.
We'll take your money no matter where you live.
However, the
Oh, I
charity.
know, but I just, because I guess people too, right? Like, I mean, most of the people that I know or stuff that I do is in Etobicoke, right? So it's just, I don't know. I mean, a charity is a charity. In my eyes, a charity is a charity. You're helping. So if some people, it's like, well, why not do something for somebody local? So that's why I was just wondering. I wasn't sure if they had restrictions as to, where you live or.
No, I haven't read anything in the guidelines that say, you're not allowed. However, we will be donating to a Mississauga-based charity. So we would make sure in our best practices and guidelines that we aren't selecting a charity in Etobicoke because we're Mississauga chapter.
Right, of course, of course.
Anyone else?
I'm in, I'll make calls, I'll clean clothes, whatever. I want in.
That's great. Thank you so much, Heather. Appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. There's lots that needs to be done. So
Yeah, hey Christine, this is Manpreet. I like the idea too. Yeah, I have stayed in Mississauga since I arrived here, so I love this place. So that's why I said I want to be a member of this one. So apart from that $400 a year, is there any more monetary involvement or I'm sorry, I'm outside, so.
Not to my, whatever we have, if we get to the point where we're allowed to meet in person, my first choice is that we meet in person. And if we meet in person, we do need to find a space. And
That's
so,
what, yeah.
I wouldn't be asking anyone to donate money for the space. However, the money has to come from somewhere for the space. That's why I had that sponsorship donation people on the steering committee who would work to, hey, XYZ, we're looking for, this not-for-profit is looking for a space for 2 hours. Can you donate that space, right? So I don't foresee there are any other requirements as far as funding goes. I love the idea of the group, however, whatever size of us, and I'm not talking about the steering committee here, I'm talking about the chapter members, forming our own little sub community and doing things together. I think that would be amazing and wonderful, whether that's, going to dinner after we decide on our donation folks, or if that is, getting together to have some fun and networking in the park. Do you understand what I'm saying? There might be costs associated with that, but I don't foresee there being a commitment to you having to put anything else up front.
Yeah, because I asked the same what you explained. That was my because if you're going to organize, there are a lot of costs, because I have organized events in the past.
You just
was like running a. Can you see me?
Yeah.
So that's a cost involved, right? Yeah. So there are costs involved in terms of having a venue, getting the tea, coffee, water, whatever, right? Yeah. So that means we have to organize that through the donation of people whoever whatever wants to.
And so, like I said, the one example I talked about, or I read about, was that one group actually went to a printing company and they printed t-shirts. So they did a lot of 100 t-shirts with the 100 Women Who Care logo on it for their chapter, and then they sold those. So they were donated, 100 were donated, and then they went and sold, let's just say, for $20. And so they made some money there, which then went into the bank or the kitty to pay for their budgetary expenses. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. So that's like, having there are a lot of festivals that happen. You need a place like table or something, right? That costs maybe 100, 200 too, right? Just to make it more public, right? And have people get more donation, right? We can take that route as well, right? So
yes, exactly. We can. That's one of the things that the committee can approach the 100 women with. There could be one of the 100 could own a space. We have Ritu on here somewhere. You guys are all moving around on me. She might have a space that we can host meetings where we can meet. Or there could be people in the group. Well, Amy, she does websites, so she can donate her time to create, the page. There could be people who are printing companies that we approach that want to be involved and donate. Maybe they have their logo on the shirt too, or something like that, right? So these are the creative things that we need to do amongst the committee, then bring it forward to the 100 and see, okay, who in this group has a connection for us where we can approach and get donations or receive sponsorship. Sometimes people have connections with the banks. They might donate just funds. Here's the money, and maybe we put their logo on our banner, right, for that quarter. So there's different things that we can do to collect funds for our budgetary needs. But yes, there are. I mean, just the simple fact of if you can't give your $100 check, I said to you a few minutes ago, okay, we'll process it through the mob website. That costs money to use Stripe. There is a charge, right? So yes, I totally understand everything. Everything has a cost associated to it. Yes, and thank you for being aware of that.
Hi there, Christine.
Judy? Oh, sorry. Go
ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, okay, Christine, it's Judy. I just know that in passing, excuse me, my voice is going. In past charities that I worked for, getting sponsorships and donations, it's better to go at the beginning of the fiscal year, which is March, because if you go before that, it's at the end of the year and they're out of money. So it's coming up soon. So you sort of have to start sending those letters out if you want to get donations.
Thank you. Good.
March.
I know I used to do some contracting work for the government, and at the end, towards the end of March, if they had money, they're like, could you invoice us please for like $5,000? But we don't know what we're going to spend it on yet, but you know, we got to spend this money or we'll lose it. So yeah.
Right, there's that as well, but also at the beginning of the fiscal year when they just get their budgets, they have all their money, right? So it's good to tap into that right at the beginning.
And so what would you say that time is? Don't they all have different fiscal years?
Most people March, but not always. Some are from January to December.
Yeah.
So yeah, you sort of have to find out.
Yeah, because I know the other committee I'm on, they were saying the same thing, like, let's get them now in December when we first started meeting, because the budgets are all getting processed for the next year so they can add it in as a budget line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, awesome. So sorry, did you have anything else to share? Because I think somebody else had their hand up.
It was me, Helen.
Hi, Helen.
Hi there. I just want to say, count me in. I can make calls, do whatever is needed. I'm very interested.
Okay.
That's all I wanted to say at this point.
Thank you.
I had a suggestion. I hope it's not too early to suggest this. It's Melissa from She Cycle. But I was wondering if it would be possible to put the idea to work in with the city for the spaces, because I'm trying to do that for some of my events to start in the spring, working with outside spaces. So, and then we're like doing it at like a park or something. Like I'm planning clothing swaps in parks. So I'm trying to get.
So I'm not sure. The mob, when we have an account with the city, and the only way to be considered charity is to actually have a charitable number, an actual registered charitable number. And I haven't gone through all the steps on that yet and the legalities of that. But I know that if we're going to do that through the city, then we definitely have to have a charitable number for a full out donation. However, what we have done in the past, and Ritu has been very generous, is when we met do you guys remember this, or gals? In August, we met outdoors. We had that lovely 2.5 hour meetup outside where we went around to the various stations, and we did rent a pavilion, and Ritu and another co-working space owner donated the funds and got the sponsorship for that event. So yeah, that's definitely, we will definitely work towards having all of our venue opportunities being donated, and look for opportunities where they give space out. Somebody wrote something in here in the chat box, and was it Hilda? I can't find it now.
Yeah, I was just saying one advantage of, because we're all business women, like even just seeing how many people give away prizes at our social events and things like that, like people are very quick to be able to give like a $25 or $50 prize in exchange for their name or their, their logo or something being put on, say, the website or something like that. So I think for minor expenses like tea or coffee or name tags or whatever, we could probably have like a monthly sponsor that we just rotate through every month for like $50 or something. That's just basics that you can share among all business owners.
And I think when things get back up and running, I think that we could approach restaurants that might not be open early in the morning and can we use your space? And each person buys their own tea and coffee, and they give us the space to use. So there's a lot of opportunities for us to really go zero budget with the generosity of the people that we know. And yes, definitely in exchange for social media and online shout outs.
Hey, Christine, this is Heather again. Let's make use of that Clubhouse app. I'd love to volunteer to help you with podcasts.
Oh.
Just in terms of getting the word out or whatever, that would be really fun. I'm happy to do any kind of, because you can do so much with Apple stuff. With Apple Movie, putting out little ads or information blurbs or whatever, anything I can do to help, I'm happy to do it.
Well, I am definitely not getting into podcasts myself, but if you have that skill set and it's something you want to do, then yeah, bring it on, baby.
Christine, it's Anthe. For some of the costs, to kind of piggyback on what Hilda was saying, could members in good standing pay to have their business link and logo on the 100 Women Who Cares webpage?
Absolutely.
So that it's like, these are members in good standing. Here are all the links, and you pay, like Hilda said, $50 for the year just to have your name on that website as somebody who is recognized as being part of the charity.
I absolutely love that idea. Anything that we can do to promote our members, and I don't want to get too much into detail, but on our homepage for that quarter, they could be there for that quarter, right? Because we'll break it down for sure. And ideally, I'd like to see every single, the steering committee, there would be a page about the steering committee and each person and what they do and sort of what they bring to the table. But I'd also like there to be a page on the website that is, who are our members, and then picture and a little blurb to highlight the members as well. Whether it's you or you join, and your company name is there, but for sure. Yeah. And this is something that we can work through with the steering committee, come up with the tiers maybe, because it might come to that. It might come to, I want to give 50.
Yeah, do it like PBS. Christine, I apologize for interrupting you. Do it like PBS. Do tiers, for X amount of dollars commitment, you get the t-shirt and you get the mug and you get the, for X amount of dollars, you get part of the raffle for the trip to France, whatever. Which secretly is for the steering committee only, but whatever.
Okay.
Christine, it's Toby. I just have one question for you. So the form that you're going to create, it's going to have like an option on there if you want to be involved in sponsorship.
So the presentation I did, and I outlined those, I don't know what it was, 7, 8, 6 roles. I'll basically make it like maybe I'll do a drop down list or something.
Okay.
That said, what's your first desired role, what's your second, and then what experience do you have in this role. And like if I have 2 or 3 amazing people, I might say like, which one of you actually wants to be on the committee, but this is your team kind of thing. Because I don't want to not include everyone, but we have to have a group of, we can't have 200 people in a steering committee. That it just doesn't work.
Okay, perfect.
I promise you all have a place.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Christine, are you planning to run this through the mob, or is this a completely separate standalone thing that just happens to have a bunch of mob people on the steering committee? Like, are you thinking this would be a subgroup of the mob or a completely independent own website?
I think it is. I think at this point it is a sub. Yeah, it's the Mississauga, but the mob is definitely a thrust.
Like, I'm just thinking, you were mentioning earlier about being a charitable organization and such, and while the mob may or may not be that, I would imagine there's got to be lots of the 100 Women Who Care groups that have registered as a charity. So if you were doing it as a separate standalone thing, it might be easier or quicker to be able to get that status. I'm not sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because we would, so for example, I've got a lot of friends that you know, are not entrepreneurs, right? They work 9 to 5 or what have you, right? And if I'd love for them to be involved just as a woman.
This
kind of
isn't a
thing,
closed door. Even if the mob's name is associated with it, it is not closed, and it is not exclusive. It's always inclusive. People say all the time, can I invite them? Can I invite them to social outing? Invite them, for sure. There's a little bit of, maybe this is not the right word, but there's presence already in the marketplace in this city for MAWB. So, you know, if we can capitalize on that, then great. So Marilla, you can, anyone can join.
Absolutely.
Any neighbor, friend, sister, cousin, colleague, coworker.
Bring it on.
Yeah, you know, they don't have to be a member. They don't have to be a businesswoman to participate.
Yeah, great.
To donate.
Will the meetings be during the day or in the evening?
You know what, we will more than likely the giving circle will be an evening, just because there's you know, there's probably going to be 40% that are going to be full-time employees.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Good.
So, and
makes
of
sense.
course, with 100 people, we're never going to get. There is a chance that we might not get everyone. The idea is that everyone who does commit, whether they can come or not, must present their check. Their check must be sent with someone else. That person then has proxy.
Like a proxy.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we will absolutely do our best to ensure.
Whoever is
one of the things that we'll do in the first month before we launch is we'll actually pick the dates. You know, we'll have our schedule outlined so that people know.
I think most importantly, the website or the web Facebook page or anything should be like, a lot will be on poll-based system, choosing a day, choosing a charity, polling about it. So a lot of it will be dependent on voting, I guess. So that option has to be like really good in both the website and the web page, a Facebook page, wherever we're voting.
Yes. And I, you know, again, well, this might be decided that we even have a Facebook group where this takes place. It's a lot easier to vote with the voting polls and everything in that way. So, and the committee can decide on how formal we want it. Yeah. As I said at the very beginning, I do not have all of the answers, and that's why I need a team, because to be very honest with you, my volunteer life is very limited. Like I've done lots of giving and participated in lots of sports stuff, but on this level, very different. So I'm very much looking forward to learning from all of you who have experience that I don't have yet. So anyone else? All right, that's it. That was a big long pause. I think that's all of the, oh, Manpreet, did you put your hand up there or were you stretching?
My battery is going down. I thought I want to say bye. It was
okay.
Very nice. Yeah. So I mean, I said whatever I can help as volunteer steering committee. I have various experience, whatever I'll be doing.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. Thank you everyone so very much for your time today. Appreciate all of your questions. Looking forward to growing with you, to giving with you, to learning from you. This is just going to be fantastic. I can't wait to hear about the stories that come back about what the impact our donations and time and effort make on our Mississauga you know, fellow community members and residents. So thank you so much for being here today, and we will chat with you soon. I'll get busy on that form.
All right. Bye.
Thanks, Christine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks,
Christine.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. See you.